Yo, what's up guys? Buzz here with a brand new video, and this one's going to be going over 12 tips and tricks that I think would prove useful for any player of the game. So yeah, let's get into it. Tip number 1, shortcuts. As you may know, it can be pretty complicated trying to fish for the right folder in the game whenever you might need to go looking for it. So what I do is I have a folder on my desktop called MXBikes Directories, and it goes to these 3 locations. It goes to the mods location, one for the screenshots. If you press F12 at any point during the game, it takes a screenshot. I'm pretty sure that only applies to Steam users. And then one for the main game directory. So I'm going to show you guys how to make those shortcuts real quick. So I'm going to exit that. Alright, click on the desktop, make a new folder. I'm going to call it MXB Shortcuts. That. I'll open this up, and then I'll make the mods folder shortcut real quick. So I'm going to go here, browse, and then libraries, documents, documents again. Scroll down to Paboso, click MX Bikes right there. Okay, next. And then you get to put just mods at the end of it, like that, finished. Alright, so the next one will be the main game directory. So go to browse, you go to this PC, go to local disk, program files 86, Steam, Steam apps, common, MX Bikes. Next, and I'm just put main like that, so it's the main folder for that. And then we're gonna do another shortcut for the screenshots. So go to PC, local disk, and go to program files 86. And then you're gonna go to Steam, user data, and then up here you're gonna type in 65500. Open this folder, and then right here for screenshots. So these are your screenshots here, okay? So what you can do right here on this bar is you're gonna click, and then you're gonna right click this address, you're gonna hit copy. All right, and I'm gonna X out of this, go back to your shortcuts folder, right click, shortcut, paste that address here, hit next, and then this will be your screenshot location. And then there you go. Tip number 2, show FPS. At any point during the game, whether you're in the main menu, in a race, or in practice, you just press Control F and it will pop up a frames counter at the top right. I like this because it's using the counter that comes directly with the game rather than a third party, and I think it's a lot more accurate as well. Tip number 3, free roam at the bikes menu. So by default, you can only move the bike around like this. It's kind of on a fixed point that's kind of centered on the bike and the rider. But if you want to move around freely, you just press Shift C at the same time, and then you're in this new view, and you just use left click and drag to move the camera around. And then if you want to move around, you just use WAS and D to move around like that. And if you want to move it back to the default view, you just press Shift C again. Tip number 4, online connection. So if you've been playing online and you notice that whenever a rider joins in, the lobby will just kind of freeze momentarily from time to time. Something that can help fix this is by making sure in your settings your bandwidth is set to very high, and your graphics, your textures is set to high, because if it's down to medium or low, the game is having to convert those down in real time. Yeah, definitely try those 2 things out. And also, if you're playing the game through a Wi-Fi connection, I would highly recommend using a wired Ethernet connection instead. It's just a lot faster and smoother that way. Tip number 5, changing the default boots and helmet. If you've played online and you've noticed that certain riders will have just the regular goofy Boboso helmet and just the generic black boots, it is because this rider that's online is playing with a boot and helmet model that you do not already have in the game. But there is a way that you can change it, so instead of the game just using its default ones by default for riders that have models that you don't have, you can set it to have say some white Alpine Stars and a black Alpine Stars helmet. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. Alright, so I have a PKZ for the A-Stars 2022 SM10 Armega helmet, and I should have mentioned also you can use folders as boot and helmet models. So if you have one that isn't a PKZ and it's just a folder that has, you know, just the raw stuff, the left and right boot, HRC files, etc., then you can still use these as well as the PKZs. So what you'll do is you'll go to your shortcut that you made. You go to the Steam directory for the main game, and then you're going to in your rider PKZ, just right click and just go to just open and then browse for WinRAR. So what you're going to do is you're going to open up the rider PKZ, close out of that. So what you'll do is once you're in rider, you go to boots, and then you right click this default folder, delete files, yes, and then I'm going to drag this Alpine Stars folder right here. Then we hit OK. So I'm going to go back, go to helmets, right click this, delete files, and drag this in. Okay. And you should be good to go. Tip number 6, change rider neck color. I put out a mod recently that allows you to choose from a few different rider neck colors, and keep in mind that this only applies on a per paint basis, so the rider skin tone color that you choose has to be packed into the paint that your rider is going to wear. So I'll show you guys how to do that. I'll put a link in the description for the download for this mod, and inside it, it will come with these 6 files here, and you have 4 colors to choose from, and so they're color coded. I'm going to go with B because that's closer to mine. To pack this into a paint for a rider, for example, I have grabbed a paint from Jesse for his Thor core gear, and I went ahead and made my own custom stuff for it. The monster logo, I got my name and number on it already. So what I'm going to do is, since I chose the letter B for my color, I'm going to copy these 2 TGA files. I'm going to paste them here. And then what you do is you go into painted, and then you go to directory read, and then you scroll to the folder I got it in, and it should have, you know, the rider gear right here, and then these 2 face parts. Give it a name and then pack it. So I'm going to go ahead and just call this test. Hit pack, and then you're going to go into your mods folder. Go to mods, riders, default MX, paints, and then I'm going to call this test. Hit save. I'm going to hit replace because I've done a similar test before. And then we'll check it out in game. Alright, so we're loaded into bikes. I'm going to go bike, and I'm going to go to rider gear, and then I'm going to type in test to see if it worked. And there you go. Just a cool way to make your rider more personal to you And yeah, just a really cool little mod. Tip number 7, change stock wheels. If you've noticed with all your bikes that for some reason the rims are always just solid black with the orange nips, it is because the game is using the default wheel model for the bikes. A lot of creators will utilize a mod that allows them to have different colored rims and spokes. I'm going to show you guys how to download those particular mods so they show up with different colors rather than the default. Alright, so I've got a link to them in the description down here. So under wheels, you have a choice between 5 different models. Obviously, you don't want this one because it's for Supermoto, but these 4 you can choose from. I highly recommend using the Geo Panda ones because those are the most popular and 98% of creators use them anyways. So I would just recommend using this one. The Dunlop one seems to be the most downloaded compared to the other ones. So what you can do is you can click down here, hit download. I've already downloaded it, so I'm gonna go up here to my downloads, and then it's got this p_mx.pkz file. What you're gonna do is you're gonna right click this, hit copy, and then you can go to documents, you go Proposo, spikes, mods, tires, right click here, hit paste and replace. And that should do it. If you download a bike paint that has red rims or yellow rims, then they will more than likely show up as the color that they're supposed to. Tip number 8, steering sensitivity for OEMs. Okay, so something I've found with the new OEMs that a lot of people have noticed is that they don't respond as quickly as they used to with input from steering. So what I have done in my settings is I originally had this at like 90 and I moved it up to 160, and the closer you move it to 200, just the quicker it is. So compared to 80, I have found that this has actually helped a bit. Maybe even start off with 200. If it's too snappy for you, just bring it down just a little bit. And if your dead zone is bigger than like 10, then that's not really ideal. Most players just don't have it more than 10. Maybe check and see if there's any junk in your controller, because I know mine's old. I know it definitely needs a cleaning. So try these out, see if they help. Tip number 9, server connection. If whenever you're trying to join somebody's server for the first time and it just crashes the game, something I like to do is just jiggle the mouse for like 15 to 20 seconds while it's loading, and for some reason, whatever it is, it prevents it from crashing. So give that a shot and let me know if that worked for you. Tip number 10, better acceleration. Now, if you want to improve your acceleration for especially the 250s where that's very much needed, what you can do is you can bring your front sprocket down just 1. So instead of using 3rd, you would just relegate to using 4th. And I would even bump this up, the rear sprocket, maybe 1 or 2 teeth. So that will give you a bit more speed and a lot more acceleration. And it'll just make, even this 3rd, it'll make it feel like a new 2nd for you. Tip number 11, lean help. Now this may be sacrilege to hear by some players, especially pros, but I think a lot of people would be surprised how many pros actually do use lean help. So I use it because it has improved my lap times a lot. I can lean the bike over a lot farther and carry more speed, and overall it's just improved my playing a lot, and I feel a lot more competitive with it. And so what you do is just go to settings and just go to simulation, put lean help on. You may want to put your direct lean a little closer to 40. I find that 40 is probably a good number for that. You know, just fiddle around with it, see if you like it. It's definitely helped me get around quickly and just haven't had to worry about like tipping over or anything. And yeah, you know, just give it a shot. And finally, tip number 12, Beta17 Air Physics. If you've played on Beta 17 compared to the newer betas, you've probably noticed there's a bit of a change in the way the bikes behave in air. If you find that it's a bit harder to bring the bikes back around, then I have something that you guys can try that can maybe make the bike a lot more responsive and more flickable. Alright, so what you'll do is you go to Documents, Proposo, MX Bikes, go to Profiles, go to your profile here, and then under Profile.INI you're going to open this up, and you're going to scroll all the way to the bottom, and in between the last bike and photo you're going to type this code in. And this will make the in-air physics feel more like the Beta 17 physics, and you might like this. Maybe give it a shot. If you find that you don't like it, you can always come back to this and either change this 1 to a 0 or just delete this line completely, and it'll go back to normal. So give it a shot, you might like it. And there you have it. I hope you guys got something out of this video. I've got more vids like this on the way, so be sure to hit like, subscribe, and maybe even hit that bell too. So yeah, until next time, peace.